It's a little early to start talking about golf tournaments, but really, is it ever not the time to talk about golf tournaments, Phil?
Never too early. We're planning all year round.
Absolutely. So I invited Phil here before because he's been sending emails for a really, really long time. I've been scouting him for a long time, and I always get information from the information that he sent out. Phil is from the Golf Tournament Association of Americas, and it's association for all golf tournaments and events and fundraisers and outings and networking and amateur competitive events. They serve the entire golf tournament industry, and he is an absolute wealth of knowledge. So thank you for agreeing to come along and talk to us about how to make your golf tournament a financial force for good. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Excited to be here.
Kicking us off with our agenda today. This is what we're going to cover. He's got an amazing library of videos on your YouTube channel and all that stuff. You're going to give us everything, Phil, right? Where to get more information?
Absolutely.
I'm going to give you the driver's seat. Sit back and listen.
Great. Thank you so much, Laura. Really appreciate it. And I really appreciate all of you. I know how busy everybody is, so we promise to make this time worthwhile for you. So, over the years, we've had the opportunity to work with thousands of golf tournament planners, charities, civic groups, ministries, churches, and we kind of see what works and we see what doesn't work. They share with us their frustrations and what has been successful for them. So, our job here today is to bring that information to you, and I appreciate Laura bringing this in. So, today's topic is how do we make your golf tournament a financial success? One of the things I'm going to share with you is how do the big folks do it? How do the big boys do it? There's a lot of big major events out there, and so we're going to talk a little bit about what they do and what is the secret to their success. So as you can see on the board, we're going to cover a few little different topics. One, a business plan. What does a business plan look like for a golf tournament? Golf courses. How do you find one? How do you negotiate? How do you get the best deal? And what are you looking for? We're going to talk a little bit about the committee and how do you recruit and how do you get them motivated. We'll talk about the format you should use and maybe give you some ideas on different formats. Games and contests, big money maker, and how you make money with those. Marketing promotions, how do you promote your event? How do you get more golfers? How do you get exposure for your sponsors? We'll talk about the sponsors. How do you get big sponsors? How do you get the major dollars? Golfers, how do we find them? How do we recruit them? What do they get excited about? A little bit about the award ceremony, and then then how do you evaluate what you just did? So, believe it or not, there are over a half a million golf outings in the United States every year. That's everything from charity to corporate to competitions. And the average golf tournament, believe it or not, only has 72 golfers. So if you know anything about golf, you've done it before, a sellout's 144. So really, 72 is only half sold out. The average fundraiser in the United States as a golf tournament averages only $8,000. And I'm just curious about your thoughts. How do you compare? Have you started yet? If you've been doing an event for a while, 47% of you have. Where are you at? Are you raising more than 8,000, less than 8,000? Now, keep in mind, there's events that raise 50, 100, $250,000. I've seen some that raise a million and a half a million. So the potential is big with the right ingredients. We're going to give you some of those today. So you really got to ask yourself, do we want to be average and have 72 golfers and raise 8,000, or do you want to take your event to the next level? And for you new people, don't worry, we're going to cover the basics too. How do you get started? So this is really for those who are just getting started, maybe those who are thinking about it, and those who have been doing it for years. We've got a little bit something for all of you. So one thing that we really have learned, and we really know that everybody wants in every golf tournament, one is to fill your field with golfers. We're going to talk about that. Two, how to raise a lot more money. I haven't heard any tournament that didn't say they wanted to raise more money. How do you create a memorable event? And then how do you keep those golfers coming back year after year? So let's get started, gang. I appreciate you being here. We're going to start off with the business plan. What does a business plan look like? And what should yours look like? So we're going to get over here and get to the business plan. So, first of all, I want you to think about your golf tournament as a business, a small business, in some cases, a big business. So, in any business, you need a plan. You need a business plan. I know sometimes we look at these as just a fun little fundraising event, and you can do that. But if you want to take your event to the next level, you've got to look at it as you would a business. You've got to have these ingredients. What is your objective? What are your goals? Who are your committee people and what are their responsibilities? You've got to have a detailed budget, timeline, a schedule of events, the golf course contracts, sponsorship packages, and golfer packages. So you need all of this in a business plan, and then you need to share that with your committee so everyone's on the same page. Everyone knows exactly what your goals are and where you're going, and that's the first step in planning a golf tournament. So once you've got that business plan together, then your very important step is your team, your committee. Your committee is the secret to your success. Now, I know there's a lot of people on this call because we've seen it over and over. One or two of you try to do everything, and you end up doing everything because sadly, 10% of the people do 90% of the work. But if you want to be super successful, you've got to have a great committee. The committee is the secret. Motivated, excited people. So I want to give you a couple of guidelines in putting this team together to help you have the best committee possible. I believe that a successful event needs anywhere between 9 and 12 volunteers on your committee. These people need to be motivated. They need to be excited. They need to be inspired by what you're doing in your organization. They just can't be checking off a box on volunteering. Volunteering here. They need a good reason to work hard for you. So they need a connection, a passion for what you're trying to do. Most importantly, they need to be trained properly. Most volunteer nonprofits don't take the time to train their volunteers. So I want to encourage you to put together a training meeting. Now, don't worry, we're going to give you how to train them here in a second, but bottom line is you need a separate meeting just to train your committee. How to go out and sell sponsors, how to get golfers, how to get gifts and prizes. So train them properly is crucial. And then in that training, I recommend that you put something in writing. Give them their job description in writing, so they always have that. A lot of times we'll get to a meeting and say, hey, listen, go out and get some sponsors, get some golfers, and we'll see you at the next committee meeting, but that doesn't prove to be successful. So you need a job description, some action items, a timeline for these volunteers to stay on track. I like to give volunteers ownership in the event. So many times the volunteers just feel like a volunteer. They don't have a vested interest in your success. But if you want them to buy in, you want them to work hard as you do, you've got to give them ownership. Now, how do we do that? Well, I like to give everyone on the committee a job title. And there's several job responsibilities that you need to fill. We don't have time to go through all of them today, but you need an honorary chairman. You need a tournament chairman. You need a sponsorship chairman, a golfer chairman, gift and prize chairman, a logistics operations chairman, a PR marketing chairman, and then an auction chairman. So you need someone in charge of all of these responsibilities. So make sure that you get responsible people in the right position, use their gifts, train them properly, but give them ownership because they're going to work harder for you. Another thing that I found very important with your volunteer committee is to give them a reason, an incentive for them to work harder. See, sadly enough, volunteers are only doing what they have to do to get by because they're not getting paid. There's no promotion opportunities, so they're barely doing what they need to do. They may bring you a foursome, they may bring you one sponsor, but I've learned that if you give them an incentive, a reason to reach certain goals, they're going to work harder. It's just human nature. So I like to set up a little contest between the volunteers and say the first one to bring in four foursomes gets a dinner for two. The person who brings in the most sponsors is going to get a trip to Vegas or somewhere fun. So set up a little incentive program that gets them motivated and helps them reach their goals and compete against each other, and they're going to work that much harder for you. The other thing that's important with your volunteer committee is basically holding them accountable. See, I think one of the things that we're afraid to do as staff or executives in particular organizations is we're afraid to push the volunteers. We're afraid to hold them accountable. And I think this is a powerful tool for you. So how you hold them accountable is very simple. You put their job description and what's expected of them in writing. In the very beginning, get them excited in the beginning, tell them what they need to do, give them some goals. Maybe it's 4 foursomes, maybe it's 3 sponsors, maybe it's a few gifts and items. And then I have them sign that commitment to say, this is what I'm committed to do. This is exactly what I am promising to work very hard to do. Now let's remember that we can't fire them or we can't cut their pay, so that incentive comes in handy for them to reach their goals. Put their goals, put their job description in writing, and have them sign it. So now they know what they're shooting for. But then hold them accountable throughout the process. I like to pick up the phone and call our volunteers. So sadly enough, we've lost that gift and
Mhm.
that personal touch of reaching out to our people and just saying, hey, how you doing? How are things coming along? So I want to encourage you to use that phone again. For those of you who do not know what a phone is, because you're too used to using emails and texts, try using it. It's a very powerful tool. It gives you that personal connection. So pick up the phone, call your people, encourage them, motivate them, get them excited, tell them where you're at. Obviously, weekly or every other week meetings are important. I like doing Zoom instead of or any type of virtual video meetings because you don't want people to drive all over town. And then I ask for a written report by everybody. Maybe it's just an email that says, "Here's who I'm calling on. Here's who I'm working on." And it keeps you abreast of the progress of your event. It makes them work a little bit harder because now they've got to give you a report. But it's a very powerful tool in holding your volunteer committee accountable. So it's a powerful, powerful thing to train them, get them motivated with incentives, and then make sure you give them ownership and then hold them accountable. If you do this, your committee will be help you be very, very successful. I'm going to give you a little kind of a bonus idea for those of you who are struggling to find volunteers and maybe you don't have a lot of people there to help. So I want you to think about possibly partnering up with another company, not another nonprofit necessarily, but another company. So maybe you go to your local bank or your local car dealer or even your local grocery store and say, hey guys, I want to partner up on a fun event. And this is a powerful way to build your event, huge. Because now you're getting them involved. They're getting their employees as volunteers. You're getting their customers as participants, and maybe even their vendors as sponsors. I've seen this happen over and over again. Prime example, United Way partners with Publix supermarkets, and they raise over $250,000 a year because they're utilizing their sponsors, their vendors, they're utilizing their employees as volunteers, and then they're getting their customers to participate. So think about if you're struggling getting that volunteer committee together to partner up with a company in town that may want to be the title sponsor, not only give you cash but bring their team along with you. So these are just a few ideas on how to put your team together, how to put your committee together, and capitalize on that. So the next step is working with the golf course. Let me remind you, do not take the golf course for granted. Think about this. When you tell someone you're putting on a golf tournament, what's the first question they always ask you? Where's it being played? You know
Where's it at?
why? Because a golf course is important. It's the most important, believe it or not. Golfers care about the golf course. Oh, please don't take me wrong. They care about your charity, but they more care about the golf course. And don't take that wrong. Don't take that personal. They want to play at a nice golf course. So your job is to find the best golf course possible. And here's what we're looking for. Every one of us golfers want the big word called value. Now, what does value mean? It means that we're getting more than we pay for. We don't want a cheap, dumpy little golf course that any one of us can play during the week that's open to the public, that's falling apart, that's cheap green fees. We want a nice place. So when you're looking for a golf tournament, go look for maybe a private country club, maybe a resort, but something in great shape. Us golfers care about a great golf course in good shape. Okay, so look for something unique and special, something that your golfers don't normally play on a regular basis. So golf courses are important, but now you're saying, well, Phil, listen, we can't afford that. Let me just tell you, gang, golfers have money, and they'll pay you more if you give them more. So if you give them a nicer course, you give them more value, they're going to pay a little bit more. But that being said, we're all still trying to look to how to save money. So let me give you a couple of ideas on how to find the best deal possible. And that is a couple ways. Number one, when you're looking for dates, look for the shoulder season of your area. Every market has a shoulder season where the rates are a little bit lower. Maybe the weather's warmer, or maybe too cold, or colder, and but you can still put off a golf tournament. The shoulder season, you're going to get better rates. Also, look about thinking doing an event Monday through Thursday in the afternoon. The rates are a lot less expensive. If you're thinking about Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, you're going to pay top dollar. So, especially if it's in prime season. So, talk to the golf course, negotiate, look at what the shoulder season is. Look at when their rates drop. Look at Monday through Thursday in the afternoon, and you will get a better deal. But if you're established, you've been doing a tournament for a while, what I'm going to recommend for some of you, not all of you, but some of you, to maybe do a course buyout. Now, what does that mean? That means you buy out the whole golf course for the whole day. Maybe you buy it out for a half a day. Golf courses want X amount of money to cover their expenses. And if you believe that you can fill up your field, you're normally going to get a better deal. If you buy out the golf course and say, we want to own it for the afternoon. You got to do some math and calculate, will we get the golfers, will we fill the field, and what's the registration fee? But that's a much cleaner way to get a golf course, and you're normally going to get a better deal. So you want to find a golf course not only that's unique and different, that will negotiate with you, but also that gets involved. See, a lot of golf courses don't want to help you with your event, but you need to find a golf course that's as excited about you are as your event, and they want to get involved. They want to help you with your event. See, they're experts. They know a lot of stuff. They got a lot to offer, but if you don't ask, they won't give it to you. So think about asking the golf course for a lot of things. Asking for help promoting your event. They have a database of golfers. Maybe they're going to promote your event to them. They may have members. They may have planning guides. Okay, step-by-step planning guides. Some of them do, some of them don't. But ask, what planning tools do you have? They also have gifts and items to offer you. They have some free rounds of golf. They have some golf balls laying around. They have some gloves. They have some extra shirts that were either given to them by a sales rep or undersold last year, that they're willing to give you at no charge, but you got to ask. And then one fun thing I like to do is have the committee meetings, your committee meetings, at the golf course. This helps your committee get to know the golf course. It helps them get to know you. The golf course get to know you and your committee, and it really gives you a better feel, and it gets your committee excited. So be thinking about the possibilities of holding your committee meetings there. So golf courses are important, gang. Don't take them lightly. Your golfers do care about them. Now I want to talk quickly about formats. Now we can spend a whole day talking about formats, because when most of us think about a golf tournament, we think there's only one format, a shotgun scramble. There's nothing wrong with that format, but sometimes it doesn't work, and sometimes it's not the best format for you. So we're not going to spend a whole lot of time, but shotgun scrambles are not the only format. In fact, there's over 100 ways that you can produce a great golf tournament. So think about the other options that you have out there to you. There's best ball, there's modified scramble, there's team events, there's individual events. You may want to think about doing a pro-am. A pro-am is a great way to do an event and really raise a lot more money. That's simply putting a golf pro in your foursome. Or maybe a celebrity event where you put a celebrity in your foursome. That's another huge way to really double, triple, sometimes quadruple your registration fees. So be thinking about some other events. I have to tell you about an event that I love that makes a lot of money. And this is only if you want to make a lot of money. So it's called a golf-a-thon or a golf marathon. It's a way to raise $50 to $100 to $250,000, and it's simply done like you would a walk-a-thon or a bike-a-thon, where you go out and you get 40 golfers to go out and raise pledges per hole. And you rent the golf course for the whole day, and it's only your golfers playing as many holes as possible in one day. So imagine one golfer can play 100 holes, which they can in one day. They raise $25 per hole in pledges. That one golfer has raised $2,500. Now you get 40 of those, and you just made yourself $100,000. So just one other idea. We could talk about formats forever, but I want to encourage you to think twice about using that same old worn out shotgun scramble. Then I want to talk now real quickly about games and contests. There's 100 games and contests out there, but rethink what you're doing with games and contests, because games and contests are a great way to raise additional money. There's so many fun ones. We do the close to the pin and the long drive, but most of them don't really raise a lot of money. So we got to be thinking outside the box. Maybe one game that comes to mind that raises a whole lot of money is the golf cannon, where people get to actually shoot a cannon that shoots a golf ball all the way to the green. Golfers love that, and they'll pay extra to do it. So that's a fun thing. But think about this: do not nickel and dime your customers. Do not be asking for $5 here, $10 here. Think about a program that really works well, which is called bundling, where a lot of people call it a super ticket. We're actually selling everything in one package. And I like to do it online. So our golfer may want to buy two mulligans, two raffle tickets, a putting contest, a long drive contest, as well as the golf cannon. And basically, they're paying $50 for all of these things. They do it online or at registration, and it's a way to make a ton of money. But the bottom line is, gang, when you're thinking about games and contests, think about money making games and contests. Things that are going to make money for you. So, quickly on marketing and promotions. All right, I want to change your thinking completely on marketing and promotions. Most of us think about our golf tournament as a one-day event. We're getting 100 golfers out there, and we promote it for one day. Okay, but that does not get golf sponsors excited. So if you're really going to maximize your marketing, you've got to look at this as a 3 to 4 month marketing campaign. You're promoting it 2 months in advance, and you're promoting it a month after, not just a one-day event. You're promoting it to a full database, your whole database. And this is very important when it comes to sponsors. Also, I want to encourage you to consider partnering with a local media, whether that's a trade magazine, whether that's association uh, and their newsletter and their trade shows, possibly a radio station. But if you partner with these folks, they'll promote it and get maximum exposure for you. And they all love doing something for the community. So start building those relationships early. And then you've got social media, which is obviously the biggest thing ever, and there's all types. And you've got a ton of people that you're connected with. If everyone's promoting it on their social media, whether that's Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, all the new ones out there, you're going to get maximum exposure at little to no cost. So think about that social media campaign. Now, again, we could spend an hour talking about this. In fact, we do another video that's a whole hour just on marketing and promotion. You may want to check that out. But very, very important to get not only exposure for your sponsors, exposure for your organization, but get the golfers much more involved. All right, now here's the most popular topic that everyone gets excited about, and that's sponsors. Again, we have a 2-hour seminar just on the details of selling sponsors. But let me make it clear, gang. Sponsors are your profit. If you want to make more money, you sell more and bigger sponsors. See, we all get satisfied by selling a couple of whole fine sponsors, and we're content with $250, $500 sponsors. But if you want to make the real money, you got to go after the big guys. And to get the big guys, you got to get to them well in advance, 6 months to a year in advance. But you've got to offer them something different, not their name on a website, not their name on a whole sign. You've got to give them more. See, all businesses, I don't care who they are, what industry, are looking for one thing. That's simply more business. And so if you can help them get more business through your golf outing, through your organization, you're going to get their attention and you're going to get more money. So the more exposure, the more potential clients you can bring them, the more money you're going to get. Very simple. They're looking for a return on investment. So you want to give them exposure and clients. That's what gets sponsors' attention. That's what gives them the option to give you more money. So create packages that offer that. And we could spend hours on what you put in a sponsor package, but look at blast emails to a big database. Look at media coverage. Look at display opportunities. You get them excited about getting more customers, and they're going to get involved with you. But here's the secret to selling sponsors: Not only return on investment, not only more business, but it's a relationship with you. That's why your committee is so important, because they all have relationships with their bank, with their car dealer, with their attorney, with their accountants. But those people, those companies are potential sponsors for big dollars. But why they're going to get involved is because they have a relationship with you. You cannot call blindly companies out of the blue. You may get lucky and find a nugget somewhere after contacting 1,000 companies, but that's not the way it's done. The way it's done is you connect with the relationships that you have with your people, and your committee contact with the relationships that they have. That's how you get the real money. So obviously, we do this for money and for golfers. So you get the money through sponsors, but you get the golfers in your community, again, through your relationships. So most people, as I mentioned, only sell half their field. They'll bring out 70 to 80 golfers, which is only half the field. We all want that full field of 100 to 144. So how do we do that? Well, it gets back to a couple of basics. One, you got to give them a great golf course. You got to give them value. You got to give them a great goodie bag. You got to give them a great dinner, good food, something special, maybe a pro-am, maybe a celebrity am. But you got to give them value. See, what I find a lot of charities doing is they'll overcharge for the golf tournament in the name of the charity. And that's a big mistake, gang, because let me just remind you of something. This is very important. Write this down. That they don't have to play in your golf tournament to believe in your charity. Anybody can write you a check anytime. But if you try to overinflate the registration fees of your golf tournament, they're not going to get excited about that, and they're not going to see the value. But if you want them to participate, you keep the registration fee as low as possible, obviously covering your costs, and make the money through sponsorship. That's the formula for success. But the secret, again, to getting golfers is relationships. I'm going to give you a formula right now that'll guarantee a sellout for your golf tournament. Write this down, circle it, ready? A sellout's 144. That means 36 teams. All right? Very simply, you get 9 people on your committee recruiting 4 of their friends. And those 4 people have to go get a foursome. We call it the 944 rule. 9 people on your committee finding 4 people to go out and bring in a foursome. If you do that, you're sold out all day long. You can't depend on blast emails. You can't depend on advertising. You can't depend on a hope and a prayer that golfers are going to show up and play. They're going to do it because their buddy asks them. That's the key. But you got to give them value. You got to give them a reason to be excited about your golf tournament. So that's how you fill up your field. Now, once you put on a great tournament, now it's time to look at your awards ceremony. So many people take their award ceremony for granted. They think, okay, well, we'll give out a few trophies here and there and maybe sell a couple of raffle items and boom, we're done. But we're missing a big opportunity. The award ceremony is a big moneymaker if you do it right. So think about turning your award ceremony into a party where you can invite other people. I know what you're saying, Phil, our golfers are tired and they're going to go home, and if they don't win something, they leave early. I know, I see it all the time. But if you give them a party, guess what? They get a second wind. They're excited to stay. They're excited to hang out. So how do you turn into a party? You bring in some entertainment. You have dancing, a DJ. You bring in a comedian, a magician, something fun, something exciting. And then, gang, here's the key. You sell additional tickets. See, there's a lot of people that maybe they're the spouses, maybe they're people in the organization that aren't golfers, but they want a party. So give them a party. Sell additional tickets. Now you've got more people there for a raffle, more people there for your auction, and you will make a lot more money. But here's another key secret that people forget and why the award ceremony is so important, and that's simply called the appeal. If you do the appeal properly, you're going to double the revenue of your tournament. And an appeal is very simply done. And I know you're saying, well, what is an appeal? How does it work? But do not be afraid to ask for more money. This is what an appeal is. You're simply presenting your situation. You're letting your need be known. You're not begging for money. You're not force feeding or pushing anybody. It's no high pressure. It's simply letting them know what your organization's doing, the people that you've helped, and if there's more money coming in, you can help more people. tell that story with a video, with a speaker, with some testimonies. If you do that, people will want to give. Out of the goodness of their heart, they'll give you more money. Maybe not everybody, but some will. And someone may just write you a big old check, and it makes it all worthwhile. So the appeal is very, very important at your award ceremony. So don't take that one lightly. So, gang, that's the keys to having a successful event. But for those of you who have done an event, now the final step is your evaluation. And that's simply taking a look at your event after you've done it and how do you make it better. And I'm going to go through here, the next slide, which is how do you evaluate your event. Most people, again, it's over, you really don't even talk about it. You forget about it for another 8 months, and then you start planning again. This is very important because if you want to improve for next year, here's a couple of key items that you should do. Number one, get together right afterwards. I like to get together at the golf course and have a lunch and just get the whole committee together and really evaluate with the staff at the golf course what went right, what went wrong, what can you improve on next year. Send out a survey to your golfers and say, hey, what did you like? What did you not like? What can we do to improve it next year? And then, obviously, you want to keep, while it's fresh on your memory, everything that works that you can start implementing. But then you want to start promoting for the next year. You want to get that database of your golfers and let them know how it went and what you want to do in the future. So before I wrap up, gang, before I give you my bonus idea, I'm just going to tell you real quick, and Laura, forgive me, but I'll just kind of tell them who the GTA is and what we do. But we are the Association for the Golf Tournament Industry. We've been around for 35 years. We've helped hundreds of thousands of tournaments for free. We offer free education, free webinars, free newsletters, free information, free planning guides. Because here's the bottom line, gang. If we can help you do a better job, our whole industry wins. We also have some educational materials. We have a book, which I'd like to offer to your listeners and viewers, Lori, is How to Produce a Successful Golf Tournament. If they email me at the end of this, I'll give them a free ebook on how to produce a successful golf tournament. Obviously, we have a hard copy available. We also have written the complete guide on all formats and all games and contests. We have over 400 of those available, and that's available ebook and a hard copy. But we also have a certification program. So if you want to take your job, your career to a whole new level and be considered a certified golf tournament planner, we can help you with that. It's all the stuff we talked about today, but in depth with lots of training materials, lots of ebooks and manuals, and a very tough test to show that you know what you're doing. But it gives you that credibility, and you can tell everyone that you're a certified golf tournament planner. So with that being said, I want to just give you a quick little bonus idea, gang, and that's simply to stay in touch with your golfers throughout the year. Don't let them forget about you. Out of sight, out of mind. So I want to encourage you to create a monthly newsletter just about your organization and golf tournaments, what's happening, how much money did you raise, where did it go, give them new ideas, new thoughts on all kinds of topics, but focusing on the golf tournament. Tell them if you got new sponsors. Maybe you want to do some special offers throughout the year. Sign up early and get this, and maybe you have a drawing for a trip, but make it all about the golf tournament. Because if you stay in touch, they're going to not forget about who you are. But here's the key. It gives you more sponsor value. If you're promoting your sponsors all year round versus one day with a whole sign, guess what? They're going to be excited about you and come back and sponsor your year after